Hey guys, it's Drummond. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know whenever I'm posting my next video. It feels so good to be back on YouTube. I know that I took a little bit of a hiatus last year, mainly because of all the craziness that was going on due to movements, pandemics, election year. All of that stuff was just a lot to handle. Hopefully most of you all were following along with me because I was still doing positive talks over on my Instagram, which I'll leave that link down below, as well as my other social media links. I am starting a Patreon to kind of give everyone a little bit more in depth of who I am as a person, as well as giving out a little bit more content that is going to be a little bit more for me to make, which is why I'm moving it over to the Patreon platform, just because I would be getting paid for that. But when it comes to this video, today's video, I wanted to talk about trauma. And I think that everyone on this planet has suffered some type of trauma. From my own personal experiences, I've realized that the LGBT community has faced a lot of trauma as well, specifically because they've had to grow up in a world where who they are as a person isn't socially accepted everywhere. And when it comes to social norms, who they are is not accepted. And that can add trauma to people's lives. And I think that when it comes to achieving any goal that you set for yourself in life, I think that past trauma or current trauma that could be happening in your life can really hold you back. So as a life coach, that is something that I work specifically with my clients on, is healing from previous trauma that is kind of blocking them from achieving the goals that they have set for themselves. Whether it's something that happened in your past that has created some type of self-doubt, whether it's something that's happened in your past that makes you believe that you are somehow lesser than because of something that you've done or something that someone else has done in your life. And then of course you've got like the stuff that is passed on from your parents, that was probably passed on to them from their parents. And all of that, I think, really just kind of weighs down on an individual and really stops them from realizing their full potential. So the point of this video is just to kind of go over some of the different types of trauma that you might be experiencing. And then if you're interested, you can reach out to me and maybe we can work together as a coach and client to kind of heal some of those traumas in your life so that you can kind of move on with your life and maybe start achieving those dreams that you've had for yourself. So the first one I wanted to talk about for the LGBT people watching this video is when it comes to trying to fit in most of our childhood to be accepted by people who are around us. And whether we did that consciously or subconsciously, we learned that when we do certain things that we receive praise, and then when we do other things, we get reprimanded for it. And when it comes to people that are heterosexual or cisgendered, a lot of times those people are congratulated for being normal or what is considered normal to them. Whereas we have to put on an act sometimes to get that same response from the people around us. So therefore, we start to kind of create this trauma inside ourselves because we don't believe that who we are, we don't think that our authentic self deserves praise. So that can manifest all different types of trauma within us. And I think that it's so important for us to kind of take that time and reevaluate those types of things that are going through our head, because at that time we were probably processing it with an underdeveloped young person's mind. And in that sense, we kind of accepted the realities that the adults around us or the parental people in our life told us were fact. And I think that it's really important to kind of revisit those beliefs as an adult ourselves and kind of say, okay, this piece, great, this part, not so much, throw in the garbage. Because I think that a lot of us are still wandering through life with a belief system that we obtained when we were younger, not really realizing that we never really fully dove into the understanding of why that was our belief system. And it's important to kind of go back and heal that, because whether it's about money, whether it's about our orientation, whether it's about gender or race, all of those things were explained to us by adults to us as kids. So the adult might have given a very great explanation of it, but our child mind kind of formed our own understanding of that. So therefore, that means we have gone from that childhood understanding, accepting it as facts, and now we're adults and we're still kind of accepting it as facts because we've never revisited those beliefs to make sure that they are actually valid and the facts check out. Another really important one that I want to focus on is when it comes to self-love, when it comes to accepting love from people around us. A lot of times people in the LGBT community knew that they wouldn't be accepted if they let the people around them know who they really were. So we put on a lot of different masks to kind of show the world that we are deserving of their love. And in that, we kind of start to mask who we really are. So we start to lose our own identity because we're like, okay, my dad likes sports, so I need to play sports to be loved by my dad. Okay, my mom loves the good little Christian boy, so I've got to put on this mask so that my mom will love me. My grandparents love me because they want me to be the most successful person in school. So you put on whatever mask you need to do that task in life. And then when you become an adult and you realize that you're gay or your identity doesn't match the one that you had when you were younger and trying to fit in with, and then you have to start to pull off each mask and kind of look at it and say, did I really like sports, or was that something that I just did because my dad said that was what was socially acceptable because I was a guy? And you want to be able to break down all of those things. And this does not happen overnight, I promise you. It is something that is going to require lots and lots of help. I highly recommend seeking out professional help to kind of help you through this, because there's a lot of emotions attached to trauma and it's hard to get through those sometimes on your own. I always tell people that friends are great. I think that friends do help you kind of unpack some of the trauma that you've been dealing with, but be aware that a lot of people are also struggling with their own trauma. Honestly, since I've dealt with my own trauma, since I've started the journey of healing myself, I started to realize that a lot of people that were really hateful to me, a lot of the trolls on the internet that were writing hateful comments, a lot of the people that were telling me, you can't do this, or it's impossible to do this, all of those people were dealing with their own traumas and kind of putting it on me as a person. And I started to realize that maybe the healing process, maybe going back and healing that trauma within everyone would start to move us towards a society where people weren't kind of pushing the baggage of their trauma onto other people, their belief systems onto other people. Because honestly, happy people, people who have really found themselves and are able to be authentic, don't do that to other people, because they know what it's like to kind of have that kind of weight on their shoulders, and they would never want to do that to other people. And a lot of times hurting people, they become jealous. They have a lot of the negative emotions that kind of wrap around that trauma, and it just kind of goes out, and they just throw that type of energy out into the world. And I think it's so important for us to realize that we all have to work on ourselves individually. We can't make anyone else go on that journey, but it's so important to realize that you do have control over that type of thing, because once you start to heal your trauma, you are now in a space where you can help other people with theirs. And that doesn't mean that you become their counselor. That doesn't mean that you have to sit there and listen to all their past traumas. It just means they see you as someone who is starting to lose that baggage. They see you as someone who is able to walk through life a little bit easier. And they're like, how did you do that? And that's when you can kind of share. I started asking myself questions. I started trying to find the root of all the different things that have been causing me grief and stuff in life. Honestly, when it comes to healing my traumas, I absolutely love putting myself in spaces where I'm talking to people who don't really know me and are talking about subjects that are uncomfortable for me, mainly because those triggers, the things that kind of just feel like a little knife in your heart or a punch in the gut, I feel like those things are things that are just like, hey, here's a part of yourself that's not healed yet. Here's a part of yourself that needs a little bit more tender love and care. And through that, I've been able to kind of dig deeper into myself and ask, why do I believe this? Why does this hurt me? And a lot of times it has nothing to do with the person that's saying that comment or writing that post at that moment. It had more to do with my relationship with my dad from very early on, the relationship with what I thought education meant as a societal norm. All of those different things kind of impact the way you navigate through life. And so often we choose to find ways to numb those things that kind of feel like knives in our heart instead of dealing with it and healing it. But I guarantee you, if you take the time to heal it, then there's going to be an amazing shift in your life. And it's crazy because I used to kind of read like the positive quotes and all of that and just kind of giggle at them, because when it came to those things, I was like, there's no way it is that easy. And it's not easy, but once you kind of become enlightened, once you kind of tap into your energy and your authentic self, all those quotes start to kind of make sense, and you start to read them and you're like, I agree 100%. So I highly recommend taking the time to kind of heal yourself from all the trauma that you have been put through. And it comes from everywhere. It can come from a job. It can come from a relationship. It can come from your family. And I mean, even within the LGBT community, there is so much trauma in our community and so many checklists and stigmas and stereotypes that we feel like we have to fit to be able to fit in. It's crazy to know that there's so many different things causing trauma. But if we start the journey of healing, I guarantee you, you will start to feel so much better. You'll start to realize that it is something that you can do as a habit. You start to realize when things hit you a little bit sooner than before. Like before, it would take like hundreds of little things that add up. And then all of a sudden, I'm just in this space mentally that I don't understand. It feels like I'm being smushed in. It felt like I was just not going to be able to achieve anything that I set out to achieve. And then when I started the process of healing, which I personally had a coach myself, as well as a counselor that I went to for a lot of different things, and I started to realize that it wasn't the outside world that I needed approval from. It was the healing within myself that I needed to understand, and I needed to take time to kind of get to know me. And the pandemic was great for that. I think that a lot of people took that time to kind of sit in front of a mirror and say, who am I? Because so often we allowed the outside world to project onto us what we felt like we had to be acceptable in society. And the pandemic had a lot of us sitting at home figuring out what we did like. Did we enjoy reading books? Were we writing music? Did we enjoy helping people? There are so many different things that we can ask ourselves when we give ourselves that time and space to kind of heal. But that is all that I have for this video. Like I said at the beginning, make sure you follow me on my other social medias. The links are down below. Getting that Patreon set up. I still am going to be doing my positive talks over on Instagram, and I've got a lot of really cool seminars that are coming up that if you sign up for my newsletter, which will be coming out soon, you will be able to get the first heads up of when those seminars are going to be held. Super excited about a lot of the ones that I've got upcoming with other coaches and other content creators that I have met through many different avenues in life, but I'm super excited about it, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. And for the month of August, I am going to do a video a day again, like I've done before in the past. Those always kind of boosted my energy into a space that really just helped me be productive. So I'm super excited about that, to be doing another one of those in the year 2021. So hopefully you all go check all of those videos out next month. Go back and check out some of my older videos as well and tell me if there's anything that you really liked that I did that you'd like to see more of, because I absolutely love hearing from you all. And like always, leave some love in the comment sections below. I absolutely love hearing from you all, and I will be responding to as many comments as I can. I will talk to you soon. Bye.